looking at this, you just have to read through this and figure out what's different from what we have been doing. You'll notice that usually we have a slope and a y-intercept for both cases, or for both people. But in this case, you see, like for Mike's, make sure we label these. Let's label this one Mike's. You notice that it only charges a flat rate. And now, what does a flat rate mean? Okay, so no matter what,
It doesn't go higher or lower.
it doesn't go higher or lower. So if it takes them 5 minutes to fix it, right, it costs $200. It takes them 5 hours to fix it, it costs $200. So that's what a flat rate means. It doesn't go higher, it doesn't go lower. It stays at a flat rate. Okay? So flat means does not go up or down. So if we look at this again, let's label this carefully. It says X is the number of hours. Okay, so X is hours. And Y is the total cost. Y is total cost. So we'll put cost here. So at 0 hours, like just when they just pulled in to get ready to start to work on it, it already cost $200, right? From the very beginning, just to start working on it. And then after 1 hour, it still costs $200. So it doesn't go up at all. Right? So it's not really good if it's a really fast fix and you spend $200, it only takes 5 minutes. But if it happens to be, like a 7-hour job, then that's actually a really good deal because it still only costs $200. So this is usually something you would want to do if you know it's a big repair. But at some point, they're going to say, well, when is Jose's going to be cheaper? So up to what point? Because he only starts at $100, right? And then goes up 25 every hour. So after 1 hour, it goes up 25. So we're at 125, right? And then so on. You can see it goes up to 150 after 2 hours, and you can continue that pattern. And this one is very similar to what we have been doing for a while. And when are these two going to be the same? At 4 hours. So when you're graphing this, you should see them intersect at 4, 200. Okay, when is which one cheaper? Which one's cheaper for like 1 or 2 hours? Would it be Mike's or Jose's? Jose's. Okay. So hours, cost, fill all that in. You can see up to this point, this is cheaper, right? Because this is 175, this is 200, and so on. And then afterwards, you can see Mike's becomes cheaper after 4 hours. So what's a good question if you're going to mechanics and you're trying to figure out which one to go to? What's the question you want to ask them? What question would you ask them both to figure out which one to choose? How long it's going to take? Yeah, if you're going to try to figure out which one to go to, you'd want to ask them, how long do you think this would take to fix? And if it's below 4 hours, you go to Jose's. The cost, it's going to take longer than 4 hours, or all day. You have to leave it there all day, and you go to Mike's. So that would be the important question to ask to figure that out. So really, that's the only thing that's different as far as making the tables is knowing what flat rate means. So now you know flat rate doesn't go up or down. Okay. Remember, rate is another word for slope, by the way. So a flat rate is like a zero slope. Okay. So I'm going to put that in there. For this one, yeah, the slope, flat rate means 0. Here it says 25 every hour, you know the slope is 25. It goes up 25 every hour, that's your slope. So flat rate means 0 slope. As you can see, we don't go up at all. It goes up 0 every hour. This one goes up 25 every hour. Another way of figuring it out. Alright, so go ahead and graph it. and then we'll go over some of the questions on the back. But I'll leave it to you because you guys this is probably your third or fourth time of making one of these, so you might already know how to do it. What will the graph for this one look like? For Mike's, what will that look like? Will it be diagonal? No, because the slope is 0, right? So what kind of line do you have if the slope is 0? Yeah, it's a horizontal line, right? So Mike's is just going to be a horizontal line. No matter what, it's always, no matter how many hours, it always stays at $200 no matter what. It doesn't go up. So you have 1, 200, 2, 200, 3, 200. No matter what, it stays at $200. Okay. So you probably want to count by like 20s maybe, or 25s here. Okay. Count by hours, but I'm going to go every other square when I count by hours. Make sure you label everything so we know that this is hours. And then over here, that's the money. Make sure you label both lines after you graph them, that this is Jose's, this is Mike's, so we know which is which. Okay? Alright, so I'll leave you that to finish up. We'll come around, check, make sure you got it. If you feel confident, just go all the way through all the questions and move on to the next one. And I'll give you something else to do once we're finished. Yeah, let's take a look at the graph here. So here's what mine looked like. Now, do you have the labels for both units? And do you have the labels for both lines? And make sure you have all of them. And do you have nice straight lines as well? Okay. So yours should look like that. Let's go over to the back and look at a few of the questions. All right. So like before, so as we mentioned on the front, for Mike's, right? For Mike's, we said we have a flat rate. So our slope is 0. Okay. So here we have a slope equals 0. Now, what does that mean? And this is probably this is an important question right here to know what that means. So, I want to say something like the cost does not increase. Every hour. Okay? And that's what a flat rate is. Does not increase. Stays flat. The line is actually flat. So anytime you see something that says a flat rate, you know the graph for that is actually flat. The reason they call it a flat rate. The graph itself is flat. We know that the y-intercept, right, is 200. So what does the 200 stand for on this? Okay, it's a $200 flat rate. Yeah. That's what the 200 stands for in this problem. It's the flat rate. It's also the y-intercept. Okay. So that's how we get the equation. Now if we write it like with the slope in there, it would look like this, right? We'd actually put y equals 0x. Right, because the slope is 0, the y-intercept is 200, but we know we really don't include the 0x. Anytime that slope is 0, we just take it off, so we have y equals 200 is our equation. So just since flat rate does not have a slope, you just have y equals and the y-intercept, the flat rate. Okay? And for 4, it's going to be the same thing as always. You'll have 25 for your slope, and that'll be the same thing. And we've already really gotten good at answering these questions before you even start, because I already kind of pointed it out. When will they be the same? And you know, even before you graph it, that, okay, they're both going to intersect at 4 hours at a cost of $200. So you can answer some of these questions even before you graph it. Okay? So you can say, 4 hours, the cost will be $200. And please use, you don't have to use the exact same words, but use capitalization, punctuation, full sentence. Don't just say 4 hours, $200. Actually put at 4 hours or after 4 hours, the cost will be $200. Okay, full sentence. Okay. And of course, which one's the better deal? Is there one that's always a better deal? Yeah. So for 0 to 4 hours, right? And it should look like this. But for 4 or more hours, so that's a little fill in the blank version of what you need to put. So many of you have come up and you said, I'm asking you which one's better. You say, oh, it's this one. And I've always sent you back and say, no, you're missing the point. There's not a single mechanic that's always better. So you're looking at which one is cheaper, right? So for a little bit, Jose is cheaper, right? And then at some points, Mike's becomes cheaper. So you have to say that in words. Don't just say, oh, it's Jose or it's Mike. You have to say, well, when would you go to each one? And that goes back to the original question. What would you ask the mechanic about your car? You say, well, how long would it take? And that information will let you know which garage to go to, okay? What mechanic to choose. So you got to be able to put all this together and figure out what would you really do with this information, okay? So go ahead and work on that. If you're already done, look at your progress report. See if there's anything incorrect, like I turned it in, I know I got a stamp. Show me it. Don't just say, hey, I know I did it. Okay. You actually have to show me, and I can fix it. And if it's not in your folder, that means you still have it, which means you have not gotten it checked yet. You still have it. So then you need to finish it up and then show it to me, and I can get that on there. And I'll have a Khan Academy assignment, I believe, and also for you to work on if you're already finished. Okay? So that'll keep us busy.